Okay, so what we're going to do here is look at the basics of getting started with the Korg Kaossilator. So let's get right into it. What you're first going to want to do is make sure you are on a new recording. So let's do that. Alright, now we're going to want to set our key and our scales. So let's go with something pretty basic, like say a major pentatonic scale with, and let's put that in C. Alright, now basically let's just get started with our first bit of drums. Let's go with something nice and simple, like maybe a rock kit. Nice and easy. Let's listen to what that's going to sound like. Alright, nice and simple. Let's set our beat. Let's go to 110. I'm going to put the quantize on 4 to make sure everything stays nice and tight. And for the size of our loops, it's going to go from 16 out of 16, which is going to be 4 measures, all the way up to 64, which is going to be 16. For the first beat, I like to start nice and simple with a loop, so let's try that one more time. Yeah, I think I'm just going to want 4 measures of that. So we hit record, and then as soon as we start pressing, we're going to start recording that loop. Alright, now we have that loop that's going to keep going every time we have it on. Nice and simple. Okay, now what I like to do is add another layer of a different kind of drums. So let's just sample around with some electro house, see what sounds we can get. Alright, I think that nice bass there is going to go well with it, so I'm just going to keep it. I'm going to move it up to 32 for 8 measures actually, because I want to kind of mess around with it a little bit. So we're going to hit record and start there. Alright. Now if we really want to fill out drums, we can add another kit. Maybe add some break beats in there to really fill it out. Let's see what they're going to sound like. Yeah, there we go. So I'm just going to do 4 measures of that just to fill everything out. Alright, excellent. Now we're going to want to add maybe some bass in here. So let's take a look at what our basses are. If we want to do something fun, let's try out maybe some evil bass, which is kind of a dubstep bass. Let's see. Alright, so let's give ourselves an opportunity to play with this a bit. And like I showed you earlier, up here, make sure you have scale and key lock on to make sure it stays in the same tempo. So let's hit record, and we will have 16 measures there. Alright, then for our last one here, we have an opportunity to do a lead. We can do acoustic instruments. I mean, the opportunities are pretty open here. So maybe we should just do something simple, like maybe some chords. Let's choose a fun one. How about reverse guitar? Let's get a sound for that. It's pretty quiet on there. I think the bass will be too loud, so let's try another one. Let's see. Maybe something from Leeds. The acid saw is always good. And I'm going to put this at 8 measures. Hit record, and here we go. our first beat all set up. And what's really fun here though is if you like the way it goes but there's just little things you want to adjust, you can do that very easily. You can change the tempo to whatever you want, maybe slow that down to 95 beats a minute. Alright, and let's well, let's say you decide you want this to accompany something in a different key. You can go ahead and change the key, and you can even change the scale on the fly. And when it comes to, if you want to, you know, make this a little more impressive, instead of just having everything go at once, by sliding up or down, you can go between solo and mute. So here we have solo off, but let's go up, let's mute everything. So now if we hit play, that's the only one that's going to be going. But we can turn that off and have it on mute and introduce the instruments in any order we like. So slide down, then I want to bring in some drums. Now let's say we want to bring in the bass. And you can even go as far as to change the instruments. Like say you decide you don't like the evil bass and you want to do something a little more, a little less wobbly, you can go ahead and choose another one, like say the 8-bit bass, and say your lead is something you're not a big fan of, you can go ahead and change that as well. And you can do the same thing with your drums. And if there's one part that you feel like you'd like to change, you can go ahead and go back, hit record while it's highlighted, and you can re-record that part. Alright, and if you want to come back to this later, you can go ahead and save, and you have yourself a saved song that you can come back and play with later. If you go over here, see we have it down here at Untitled, and nice and simple. So those are the super basics of getting started with the Kaossilator.